Fix it. Good afternoon. Today we have several bid openings for the Department of Transportation Division of Traffic Operations. Today is Monday, October 17th, 2022. The time is 12:05. We have a bid for furnishing and installing accessible pedestrian signals at intersections throughout New York City for PIN number 84122MBTR535. E-PIN number 84122B0034 for the Borough of the Bronx. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $28,808,382.00. Again, $28,808,382.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $30,517,719.90. Again, $30,517,719.90. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $30,805,355.00. Again, $30,805,355.00. The apparent low bidder for PIN number 84122MBTR535, E-PIN number 84122B0034 is Wellsback Electric Corp. in the amount of $28,808,382.00. We'll now go on to the next bid. This is a bid for furnishing and installing accessible pedestrian signals at intersections throughout New York City in the borough of Brooklyn for PIN number 84122MBTR535, E-PIN number 84122B0034. 3 bids were received. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $28,673,684.00. Again, $28,673,684.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $31,205,236.50. Again, $31,205,236.50. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $32,426,978.00. Again, $32,426,978.00. The apparent low bidder for E-Pin number 84122B0034 Brooklyn location is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $28,673,684.00. We'll now go on to the next borough. This is a bid for furnishing and installing accessible pedestrian signals at intersections throughout New York City for the borough of Manhattan. There were 3 bids received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $28,932,360.00. Again, $28,932,360.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $31,256,388.90. Again, $31,256,388.90. The third and last bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $32,310,391.00. Again, $32,310,391.00. The apparent low bidder for the Manhattan location is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $28,932,360.00. We'll now go on to the next borough. We will now be covering the borough of Queens. There were 3 bids received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $28,536,684.00. Again, $28,536,684.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $30,928,551.70. Again, $30,928,551.70. The final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $32,228,026.00. Again, $32,228,026.00. The apparent low bidder for the Borough of Queens is Wellsback Electric Corp. in the amount of $28,536,684.00. We'll now go on to the next borough. We'll now be covering the borough of Staten Island. 3 bids were received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $28,577,082.00. Again, $28,577,082.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $30,450,086.90. Again, $30,450,086.90. The third and last bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $33,546,977.00. Again, $33,546,977.00. $53,977.00. The apparent low bidder for the Borough of Staten Island is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $28,577,082.00. We'll now go on to the combinations. Combination A, Manhattan and the Bronx. 3 bidders were received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,914,074.00. Again, $55,914,074.00. The second is from Hellman Electric. $60,518,189.80. Again, $60,518,189.80. The third and last bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,928,515.00. Again, $62,928,515.00. The apparent low bidder for combination A for Manhattan and the Bronx is Wellsback Electric in the amount of $55,914,074.00. We'll now move on to the next combination. Combination B for Manhattan and Brooklyn. 3 bids were received. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,779,804.00. Again, $55,779,804.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $62,028,348.90. Again, $62,028,348.90. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $63,177,168.00. Again, $63,177,168.00. The apparent low bidder for combination B for Manhattan and Brooklyn is Wellsback Electric Corp. in the amount of $55,779,804.00. We'll now move on to the next combination. Combination C for Manhattan and Queens. 3 bids were received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,642,010.00. Again, $55,642,010.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $61,771,534.10. Again, $61,771,534.10. The third and last bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,974,028.00. Again, $62,974,028.00. The apparent low bidder for combination C, Manhattan and Queens, is Wellsback Electric in the amount of $55,642,010.00. We'll now move on to the next combination. Combination D for Bronx and Queens. 3 bids were received today. Wellsback Electric Company is the first. $55,518,584.00. Again, $55,518,584.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $60,588,262.50. Again, $60,588,262.50. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,564,219.00. Again, $62,564,219.00. The apparent low bidder for combination D for Bronx and Queens is Wellsback Electric Corp. in the amount of $55,518,584.00. We'll now move on to the next combination. Combination E for Brooklyn and Queens. 3 bids were received today. The first is from Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,382,210.00. Again, $55,382,210.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $61,337,195.90. Again, $61,337,195.90. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,809,555.00. Again, $62,809,555.00. The apparent low bidder for combination E for Brooklyn and Queens is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $55,382,210.00. We'll now move on to the next combination. Combination F is for Brooklyn and Staten Island. 3 bids were received today. The first is Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,423,118.00. Again, $55,423,118.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $61,078,865.10. Again, $61,078,865.10. The third and final bid is from EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,729,679.00. Again, $62,729,679.00. The apparent low bidder for combination F for Brooklyn and Staten Island is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $55,423,118.00. We'll now move on to the last combination, which is combination G for Manhattan and Staten Island. 3 bids were received today. The first is for Wellsback Electric Corp. $55,682,582.00. Again, $55,682,582.00. The second bid is from Hellman Electric. $61,188,229.10. Again, $61,188,229.10. The third and final bid is for EJ Electric Installation Company. $62,897,717.00. Again, $62,897,717.00. The apparent low bidder for combination G, Manhattan and Staten Island, is Wellsback Electric Corp. In the amount of $55,602,582.00. This concludes the bid openings. The time now is 12:36. Thank you, everyone.